Hi home video makers. The cookie cutter effect in Magix Movie Studio and Video Pro X is an easy yet powerful way to make inset images or picture-in-picture effects. Essentially, this is a masking tool with various geometric mask shapes that can have a colored border. So I can have an inset of a map on my video, or a map with my video inset on it, wherever I want. I can even have a second video inset at the same time. And the cookie cutter can be used to even greater effect when combined with the size position rotation effect. If you're not familiar with the size position rotation effect, I suggest that you watch my tutorial on it first, as I'll be using it a lot in this tutorial. See the link at the top of the screen or in the description. I'm using Magix Video Pro X16 set up to resemble Magix Movie Studio 2025. I have an animated map created using the Magix Travel Maps wizard as the background on track 1 and a video of a guy walking as the foreground on track 3. I've left track 2 empty as I usually have the audio of the video on this track, and the Travel Maps video has no audio. I want to see just the guy walking in an inset or picture-in-picture, so I'll select this video clip and go to the Effects tab, Video Effects, Cookie Cutter, and click on Apply Effect. We now see the walker in a large circle, the foreground video, with the background, the map, showing outside of the circle. Looking at the cookie cutter interface, at the top right is a hamburger menu. Opening it, we see Load Video Effects, Save Video Effects, etc. This is a standard menu for all effects. To its right is an X. Clicking on this will reset the effect. I'll click on Apply Effect again. The first parameter is Color, which is for selecting a color for a border. There's an eyedropper to select a color from the preview monitor, and a black square. Opening this gives the color selector interface. I'll move the red slider to get just red and click away somewhere to close the interface. Next is the shape for the mask, and circle is selected by default. Opening the drop-down, we see the various geometric mask shapes: oval, oval side, rectangle, etc. You can try these out yourself. Next is Method, and Cutaway All But Section is the default. This means that whatever is outside of the circle mask is cut away, leaving the background video. Open the drop-down, and the alternative is Cutaway Section. Selecting this cuts away whatever is in the circle mask, showing the background video. So you can show either the selected foreground image within the mask shape, or the background image within the mask shape. I'll go back to Cutaway All But Section. I'll jump down to the size slider. Use this or the value box at the right to adjust the size of the mask. I'll reduce the size by sliding the slider to the left. The mask is not over the walker like I want, so I'll use the next parameter, Center, to adjust the X and Y values. Click and hold down the left button of your mouse on the value for X and drag the mouse downwards to move the circle mask to the left. For fine-tuning, just hold the mouse over the value and use the mouse wheel. Do the same with the Y value. Great! Now we have the walker in an inset picture over the map background. To add a border, click on the border slider and drag it to the right. Fine-tune this by changing the value in the box at the right, or by using the mouse wheel with the mouse over the value box. We've now got a red border, because red was selected earlier, highlighting the circular foreground inset image. Adjusting the feather slider will kind of blur or feather edge the border. Feathering is more useful without a border. I'll remove the border by dragging the border slider to 0. Now moving the feather slider, feather edges the inset image, blending it with the background. That makes a nice blended composite image. I'll remove the feathering and put the border back on. Now, this is not where I want the inset image to be located, so I need to move it. We saw that moving the circle mask doesn't move the foreground image, so we need to use another method. With the foreground selected, go to Effects, View Animation, Size Position Rotation Effect, and click on Apply Effect. Handles around the selected foreground image are displayed in the preview monitor. Drag this image towards the bottom right or wherever you want. The mask circle moves with the image because the mask circle location is locked to the image. I'll reset the size position rotation effect by clicking on the X at the upper right. Back to the cookie cutter effect. There are two parameters left to look at, repeat X and repeat Y. I'll reset the effect by clicking on the X at the upper right. I'll make the mask somewhat smaller using the size slider. Look at the repeat X and Y parameters. Both are 1. Drag the repeat X slider a bit to the right and we get 2 smaller circle masks on the foreground image, and 2 shows up in the value box. Drag a bit more, we get 3 circle masks, then 4, etc. The masks are getting closer together until they start to overlap. You can reduce the size to remove the overlap. The maximum number of repeated masks is 10. I'll reset repeat X to 1. Repeat Y does the same thing, but adds circle masks in the vertical direction. Combining repeat X and Y gives rows and columns for the repeated masks. Of course, my 2 video clips are not really good examples to use for the repeat effects. I'll reset the effect, apply it, and resize the mask to be smaller, and move it over the foreground video with the walker. Most of the parameters can be keyframed. If you don't know how to do keyframing, watch my tutorial on keyframing the size, position, rotation effects. The only parameters that cannot be keyframed are the shape and the method. Opening the drop-down for the cookie cutter effect in the keyframe area shows the effects that can be keyframed. I'll adjust the keyframe window to see all effects in the keyframe area. So you can change the color of the border over time, along with the size of the border and the size and location of the mask. And you can use repeat X and Y to change the number of masks showing. What happens if the subject, the walker, goes out of the circle frame, but we want to keep him within the circle? As we saw, moving the video clip with a cookie cutter applied using the size, position, rotation effect moves both the circle and the image together. We need to be able to move the image independent of the circle. To do this, we need to change the order of the video clips, apply the circle effect to the map video, and adjust the position of the walker separately from the circle. I'll rearrange the video clips so that the map video is on a foreground track, track 4, and the walker video is on track 1 with its audio on track 2. The effect has to be applied to the video on the track with a higher number, track 4, which is the foreground, not the lower number track, track 1. Note that the map video is longer than the walker video, and I want the effect to be applied only to the part that has the walker. I can keyframe the cookie cutter effect to start and finish with the walker video, or simply put cuts on the map video aligned with the beginning and end of the walker video. Now I'll apply the cookie cutter effect to the map video. By default, we get the foreground video, the map video, within the circle mask. Change the method to cutaway section, and we now see the background video with the walker in the circle mask. To get the red border, I'll change the color to red, give the border some thickness, and adjust the size of the circle. Then I'll move the circle over the walker. As I move along the timeline, the walker starts to go out of the circle. I'll put the playback marker where the walker starts to move to the left of the circle. Select the walker video, go to Size, Position, Rotation, and apply it. I'll apply a starting keyframe here. Now move along the timeline and adjust the position of the walker video by dragging the walker image to keep the walker close to the center of the circle. Move along the timeline, reposition, and repeat, and so on. I can add another inset image or video as shown. First, I'll get back the original arrangement with the walker video on track 3 and the background on track 1 and the walker in the circle. Using the size, position, rotation effect, I'll move the walker towards the upper left. I've got another video with a dog on track 5, and I'll drag it to align with the walker video. This is now the foreground image. I'll apply the cookie cutter effect. This time, I'll use a rectangle. I'll give the border a thickness and just keep the default black border. I'll move the rectangle over the dog. I want to move the rectangle with the dog to the lower right and zoom out a bit. With the dog video still selected, I'll go to Size, Position, Rotation Effect and apply it. I'll adjust the zoom factor by dragging a handle inwards to make the dog video with the rectangle smaller and move it towards the bottom right corner. There you have it, 2 inset images using the cookie cutter effect. Try out the various cookie cutter mask shapes and play around with the parameters to get a good understanding as to how to use this effect. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Till next time, make movies.